Hey everyone, hopefully you're having a good day. My name's Andy. My channel is Finding Value. Today we're going to do our daily technical analysis update of uranium. And what I've got in the background here is the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. It is up today, and that's good because we've had some pretty good down days. It's been quite vicious. And I'll give you my financial opinion here. I'll jump right into the charts. I'm looking at the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust behind me. We're up 2% today. We've broken from this downtrend, or I should say this pattern. There's a downtrend line in the pattern. We broke to the upside. We did a retest, and now we're meandering higher. Sometimes these do stick around here, and they go sideways for a little bit, and then they start to rocket. They gain some traction. Hopefully that's what we're doing, is gaining traction to move up. That's the Sprott Uranium Physical Trust. Looks good to me. I don't see anything bad there. URNM getting a little bit of buying pressure today. Sometimes they take a bounce, they come up, and they come back and do a double bottom. We'll see. I'd like to see the buying pressure continue. That's what we need to see next week. Bannerman's moving sideways on its long-term upward trend line. Hopefully we can stay in the upward trend line and continue higher. And if it breaks to the downside, it's not the end of the world. We just might have a little bit larger pullback consolidation period. Go viax, looking at this guy, zooming in on the dailies. We are at support. We found our support and we're buying back up today. Nice, very, very big buying pressure today. We went all the way up to 25 cents. It didn't close up there, but still we had some good buying pressure. Hopefully it can continue into next trading session. Global Atomic, GLATF. We're tracking sideways there. And on the big picture view, I've got this like messed up. There we go. That's kind of what we want to look at, is this pattern that we're creating. Now we've got this uptrend line. It's coming on over, and hopefully we can find some traction here and break this to the upside again. But that's what we've got. The trend line's actually down there quite a bit. We had a small update today. Looking at Forces metals, may the Forces be with all of us. A little bit of a buying pressure day today, 2.5%. Hopefully this acts like a bullish piercing type pattern. Usually you want to hit the 50th percent mark. We're not quite there. So if we were to look at this on a 5-day basis, this is a 5-minute candlestick basis. All you're looking for is a trend break, and we have that trend break. It's kind of a funky looking thing. It's a descending wedge pattern that came in here, broke to the upside, and we're starting to get some upward momentum in this chart. This is on a 5-minute candlestick basis. So as I zoom out, you can see that I was charting this little, what I charted there was this over here. It was this guy here that I had the descending wedge, and it broke to the upside. So this is a bottoming, a reversal point, came up, came back, a double bottom, and then hopefully we can head on higher. That's what I'm hoping for. That's what it looks like. And on the dailies, each candlestick's a daily candlestick. So each candlestick coming up here is 1 day of duration. And I use that one quite a bit. If the Forces will let me load this. Come on, Forces. Yeah, and that's what we're seeing. My awesome candlestick there, Lions. This could be a double bottom where we could head on higher, hopefully. Remember, guys, the short-term analysis is the least reliable. Pure point, we've got a bottoming. Look, this is a bullish engulfing pattern to head higher. What that means is the downtrend line's broken, and we can move on up, and hopefully that can continue. The big long-term perspective, we've got this big consolidation right into a corner. We broke to the upside, and it's kind of just meandering sideways before we move on up. So we get the downward movement, the sideways movement, and then eventually the upward movement. Deep yellow. This is the John Borshoff company, excellent manager. Going deep with deep yellow. I'm going to do this. I'm going to kind of draw this down here, and I'm going to draw more of a pattern where we've got multiple hits down here. And this guy's almost hitting here. So the pattern looks like this. And hopefully we can gain some traction and move on up here on this kind of megaphone type pattern almost. But a small update today. We're basically trading sideways here. Nice good hammer pattern. This is usually a reversal candlestick. It can trade sideways for a little bit and then eventually head higher, hopefully. Paladin moving on sideways, just a small down day today. It's right at support. Sky Harbour, we're getting some buying pressure today. This is a bullish piercing hammer candlestick pattern. So what happens is you get these candlesticks multiple times. You get one here, a hammer candlestick pattern with a bullish engulfing. This is where I bought, was this day. Came down, and another bullish hammer candlestick piercing pattern to hopefully move higher. On the big long-term perspective pattern, we've got a massive resistance line right where it's at. When we break this and close above it and start moving, I think we'll see a nice good uptrend. And this is your solid base to jump from or go from. So usually when you want to buy is you want to buy in the spot it is in right now with a daily candlestick of a bullish piercing pattern right under the resistance line. And it'd be nice if it was over it, but we're above this support line and it's coming right to a corner where this thing could explode higher. So that looks really good. NextGen Energy, NXE, yeah, we're coming on down. We kind of broke to the downside, little spiller out of it. And we've got a bullish engulfing down here. So hopefully we can have a hammer pattern, a double bottom in a very short period, and a move higher. And if I were to zoom in on this on a 5-day, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, these last 5 days here, what we should see is a clear bottoming type pattern. So what I'm seeing is this type of pattern and a break of this pattern to the upside, which we broke just at the end of the day today. So hopefully that momentum that we broke can continue higher. This is what a bullish engulfing pattern is. It's basically a pattern where the day before it, if you were to draw a line across, clears the high of the day before it. So if we were to zoom out, that's what it's clearing, is the closing price of the day before it. It's above it, signaling that the downtrend line's broken and that we could reverse and move higher. So NextGen Energy does look good on a short-term candlestick basis. CVVUF, CannAlaska Uranium, nice big bullish candlestick. It's a hammer pattern, and hopefully we can reverse higher. It's right at the support line. Base load, man, this thing is very volatile. It doesn't like getting down here. Buyers buy it back up, and we have a bullish engulfing, which means we could potentially head higher. We have another bullish engulfing here. So we're getting multiple bullish engulfings and wicks at the bottom with some volume behind it. Hopefully we can turn around here and move on up. That's what it's looking a lot better. Fission 3.0, FISOF. Looks like we're starting to slow the momentum and move sideways to hopefully turn around and go on up. Fission Uranium Corporation. This is a kind of a bullish type pattern because it opened lower and came back up, but it closed a little bit lower at the end of the day. It looks okay. Could be a double bottom. Cameco, hammer pattern. Could be a bullish piercing pattern. Looks real close to it. So which means we could reverse this in the short term. If I were to zoom in on these are 5-minute candlestick patterns. So each candlestick is 5 minutes that I'm going to show you next. That's what this is here. And what I'm looking for is, I'm just trying to see, because we're going to get this kind of downtrend line here. And that's what we're trying to break, is this big old downtrend line. We're still in a downtrend, but on the short term, we've got momentum coming up that hopefully we can continue that momentum and break that big long-term downtrend. Not long-term, but short-term downtrend. Kazatomprom, let me zoom back out to the dailies. The daily candlesticks is just moving sideways over here, right next to it. Not much really to say there. Peninsula Energy, just moving sideways, 5% update. We're getting to a retest line of this big retest line right below it. Probably not a bad spot to buy something. Boss Energy is right at this long-term support line that I drew in a while back. It's right there. It's going sideways. If you guys have the cojones, I mean, this would be a good spot to maybe add a little bit. Lotus Resources, LTR or LTSRF. A little hammer pattern, a little wick at the bottom. Doesn't look horrible. Doesn't look great. Just kind of neutral on it. URG finding some support. Looking better. Big bullish engulfing with a wick at the bottom. It came up. Kind of came back with that Fed news. We have another bullish hammer candlestick pattern to move higher. We're getting these big wicks. People are coming in and buying it up. So that looks a lot better. Encore Energy could be a double bottom, where this thing bottomed here, came up, came back, and we're getting more buying pressure stepping in today. I'd like for this thing to close a little bit higher, get a nice good bullish engulfing, but it's a bullish piercing pattern where it could be a reversal candlestick here. Remember, guys, I always say could or hopefully because these are only statistical probabilities. No one knows the future. No one, whoever's looking at these charts are not going to get it any, they're not going to have any more insight than I do unless they've got different patterns that they're looking at, like they're drawing it out maybe perhaps differently. But overall, downward movement, sideways movement, the upward movement, yeah, we've got some selling pressure in here. I do not think that this is the end of this bull market. There's no way. These patterns are too big on all these. I mean, guys, this pattern, this descending wedge pattern in UU, it broke out to the upside. Yeah, it's had a monster run. We started at $1.50, went all the way to almost $9.50 or so, $10. And we're getting a little bit of a pullback. That's pretty normal. And this is maybe kind of the first pullback. So this could be like the first wave higher. And then we're going to get a massive third wave that comes to really blow this up to the upside. URG, looking at this chart. Again, massive pattern that we've broken to the upside. And we're just kind of flailing around right now. If we zoom in on it, we're right at the support line. And that's where you want to add a little bit of money. You want to add shares, do it at the support line. That's a good spot to be adding, I think, for URG. And UEC, kind of a shoulder, head, shoulder. We're getting real close to the bottom. We got support coming down here, so I think we're close. We've got a hammer pattern. Hopefully we can get some momentum upward. LEU, which is Centrus Energy. This is a, I think they make the whatever reactors or whatever they are. But you know, it's a bullish piercing hammer candlestick type pattern where this could find some support right where it's at. And maybe we can get some support and move on up. Every time it's touched this support line, we've had good support there and have moved to the upside from it. Let's see if this time is the same. And we've got these support areas that we've touched and hit multiple times. It's a very strong trend line. Hopefully the trend line holds right where it's at. LTBR, Lightbridge. I think looking at Lightbridge, yeah, we broke out. We kind of came back doing a kind of a monster retest. I'm gonna make it a monster retest. Bullish engulfing. I thought we were ready to go. Fed came out with some news, brought it back down. We could see some support here, and let's see if we can start turning this around right here, right now for Lightbridge. Next one is ISENF, IsoEnergy. It's a small uranium exploration play. We've got the sideways movement, the breakout of this kind of accumulation phase coming on up, and we're right at the support line. And let's see if this support line holds. I'm going to the daily candlesticks. That's on the monthlies. And I'd really like to see the buyer step in here and hold that support. And we're dipping right below it now. But we have support from the sideways motion, you know, the sideways trading right behind it. And we're right there at that support area. Appia Energy, APAAF. This is a rare earth and uranium Getting a little bit of buying pressure. It's not a bottoming candlestick pattern, but we're starting with some buying pressure there. We are doing a return move after a breakout here. So we broke out. We had a nice big bearish engulfing where this thing could pull back. We're probably going to pull back here somewhere, maybe even a little bit lower than where we're at before moving on up. DNM, this is Denison Mines. Just waiting for this. I have a really fast internet. I think it's the actual TradingView website, perhaps. Now, this thing is breaking to the downside here for Denison Mines out of this upward channel. You can see the channel I've got here coming on up. We're breaking to the downside. But we are getting a bullish engulfing, bearish engulfing. So the bullish engulfing is this candlestick here. The bearish is here. So we came up. We got our head. Somebody hit our head down here with the Fed news, and this is a bullish piercing pattern where the opening price goes below this, but closes above the 50th percent mark. So the buyers and sellers are duking it out back and forth right in this area that we're at. And this is a reversal pattern to move on up. Blue Sky Uranium, we're just chopping sideways at the moment. Forum Energy Metals, a little bit of an up day today. Hopefully we can get that momentum going. We're still above this nice strong support below, right below it. Anfield chopping sideways. Laramide getting a nice, good, solid buying pressure day today. This is a bullish piercing pattern, which shows me it could potentially move up. The statistical probability is for this to move higher. So we had a hammer pattern, which is a reversal pattern, came up. The Fed news reversed it back down, and then we have another bullish setup to move on up in Laramide, LMRXF. Western Uranium Vanadium Corporation. This is one from a big long-term perspective. We're kind of dipping below its support line right here. But we'd like to break out of this entire pattern. Maybe we kind of develop like a cup and handle type pattern before breaking to the upside. UEXCF, we had an up day today, downward, sideways, and hopefully we can get some momentum to the upside. The daily candlesticks, it's kind of a hammer pattern ending quite strong. Maybe the buyers can step in here and push this higher. That's what it looks like they're trying to do. Let's see if they're successful. This is Mega Uranium. Mega Uranium actually looks really good. Bullish engulfing, bullish piercing pattern. I think this is probably going to head higher. We're right at the tip of this thing. A lot of these companies, guys, if they can get some buying pressure in here, we could see a launch. What this is a huge resistance line. We get in here, we try to break, and that's why all these wicks are at the top. There's a lot of resistance to break through this area. Lots of sellers that we have to get ourselves worked through, so to speak. And once they break, we're going to have a big run. So we're seeing it in some of these patterns like CannAlaska, Sky Harbour, UEXCF, Mega Uranium. There's a whole bunch that we're coming right up and we're hitting up against resistance, or head on these resistance levels. And then they sell back off. Depending on what the market conditions do around us, they may or may not be stronger at some periods, because if the overall market's selling off, it's going to come back and pull back more. And even on this Mega Uranium, I can show you some cool stuff here. What I see in this and what's positive, this is on a monthly candlestick basis. Each candlestick is a month. We've got big buying pressure here, right? And then the slow leak off of sellers. Big buying pressure here. Slow leak off of sellers. We come into a bullish engulfing pattern here. That means we're going to go higher. We come all the way up. We come into this resistance zone. Everything in this zone up here is resistance. It's all resistance. We're trying to break through it, And you can see, and what usually happens is we come up, we come back down, and we go into a bullish engulfing again on a monthly candlestick basis. That's what this candlestick is right here. It's engulfing the candlestick before it completely to move higher. That's what the statistical probability is of all this stuff. I'm just going to take some of this and get it out of there. But that's the overall pattern, and they're all looking really good. We've got energy in terms of oil moving on up. We've got natural gas moving up. So I'd just be patient. I'm a buyer down here, guys. I'm going to cost average in. I have been buying. I haven't bought, I still have one last group of money that I can put in. But all the other stuff I've bought in, I've cost averaged in on that big, large dip with the hammer candlestick pattern. That's when I added. So I'm in URNM. I'm in a lot of these individual companies that I've been riding in for a while. And I would be sprinkling in. I think it looks good. But that's me. Again, that's just my financial opinion. You guys are going to have to figure out what you want to do for yourselves. Give me a thumbs up for the content. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And thank you for listening. This is Finding Value.